I always knew I was destined to create something that could change the world. Ever since I was a kid, science and technology fascinated me. I would spend countless hours in my parents' garage, surrounded by wires, circuit boards, and half-finished prototypes. It was my sanctuary, a place where I could dream big and think about how to solve some of the world's most pressing problems. My journey took a more defined path when I met Sarah Mitchell. She was an environmental engineer, and we instantly clicked. Sarah wasn't just my partner. She was my rock and my biggest cheerleader. Together, we envisioned a future where technology could harmoniously coexist with nature, solving ecological issues rather than exacerbating them. Our project, the Eco-Convert, was born out of this shared dream. The idea was simple, yet groundbreaking. A device that could transform waste into clean energy. I remember the first time we presented the Eco-Convert to our colleagues. The room was filled with skeptical faces and murmurs of doubt. One of them, a senior engineer named Dr. Collins, openly laughed. "Jake, this is science fiction," he said, shaking his head. "Turning waste into energy? It's a pipe dream." His words stung. I looked at Sarah, who gave me a reassuring nod. "We'll prove them wrong, Jake," she whispered to me later that night as we worked late in the garage. "I believe in you, and I believe in the Eco-Convert." Despite the ridicule and the lack of support, we pressed on. Investors were another hurdle. Meeting after meeting, rejection after rejection, it began to feel like a never-ending cycle of disappointment. It was disheartening to see our dream dismissed so casually by those who couldn't see its potential. "I just don't get it," I vented to Sarah one evening after yet another failed pitch. "Why can't they understand what we're trying to achieve here?" "They're short-sighted, Jake. They can't see beyond immediate profits. But we're not in this for the money. We're in this for the planet. We have to keep going." Her words were a balm to my weary soul. We continued to work in secret, refining the Eco-Convert, solving one problem after another. The nights were long and the sacrifices were many, but we were relentless. One particularly tough night, as I stared at a particularly stubborn circuit that refused to cooperate, Sarah put her hand on my shoulder. "Jake, remember why we started this? Remember the dream?" I sighed, nodding. "I just wish more people could see what we see." "They will," she said confidently. "We just have to keep pushing." And push we did. Through every setback, through every moment of doubt, we kept our eyes on the prize. The garage became our war room, filled with diagrams, blueprints, and prototypes. We lived and breathed the Eco-Convert, driven by the vision of a cleaner, greener world. The turning point came when we finally achieved a breakthrough in the efficiency of the device. We knew we had something truly revolutionary. The next step was to take it to the world. We decided to present the Eco-Convert at a technology fair in New York, hoping to catch the eye of someone who could finally see its potential. The day of the presentation, my nerves were through the roof. "What if they laugh at us again, Sarah?" "Then we'll laugh back," she said with a cheeky grin. "We know what we have, Jake, and today, they will too." As we demonstrated the Eco-Convert, the room was filled with a hushed awe. For the first time, I could see the spark of understanding in the eyes of the audience. And then, from the crowd, emerged Ethan Carter, a well-known entrepreneur in the green energy sector. "This is incredible," he said, approaching us after the presentation. "I see immense potential here. Let's talk." That conversation with Ethan marked the beginning of a new chapter for us. For years, our dream had been overlooked and ridiculed. But now, standing on the cusp of recognition and support, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. The journey was far from over, but for the first time, it felt like we were on the right path. "Sarah," I said, smiling at her as we walked out of the fair, "we did it." "No, Jake," she corrected, squeezing my hand. "We're just getting started." And with that, we stepped forward into the future, ready to turn our once overlooked dream into a world-changing reality. After years of relentless hard work and countless setbacks, Sarah and I finally achieved a significant breakthrough with the Eco-Convert. It was a moment I had dreamed of, but could scarcely believe was happening. We decided to present our invention at a major technology fair in New York, hoping to attract some positive attention. Little did we know, this event would change everything. As we set up our booth, I couldn't shake off the nervous energy coursing through me. Sarah, ever the calming presence, placed a reassuring hand on my shoulder. "Jake, we've got this," she said, her eyes gleaming with determination. "I know," I replied, trying to muster up some confidence. "It's just, this is our big chance. What if it doesn't go as planned?" "It will. Trust the process," she said, with a smile that could light up a room. The fair began, and soon enough, curious attendees started gathering around our booth. We demonstrated how the eco-convert could take everyday waste and convert it into clean, reusable energy. The reactions ranged from polite interest to genuine amazement. But then, a well-dressed man with an air of authority approached our setup. He introduced himself as Ethan Carter, a prominent entrepreneur in the green energy sector. "Good afternoon, I'm Ethan Carter. I must say, I've never seen anything quite like this," he said, extending a hand. I shook his hand, trying to hide my excitement. "Thank you, Mr. Carter. I'm Jake Thompson, and this is my partner, Sarah Mitchell." Sarah nodded. "Pleasure to meet you." Ethan spent the next 20 minutes grilling us with questions about the technology, the science behind it, and our plans for scaling up. It was an intense interrogation, but we answered each question with confidence and clarity. Finally, he seemed satisfied and gave us a thoughtful nod. "Jake, Sarah, I think your invention has incredible potential. I'd like to discuss a possible investment," Ethan said, his tone serious but encouraging. My heart skipped a beat. "That would be amazing, Mr. Carter. We've been working toward this moment for years." "Call me Ethan. I have a meeting room booked here at the fair. Can we talk in private?" he suggested. We followed Ethan to a quiet room away from the hustle and bustle of the fair. There, he laid out his vision for how he could help us bring the eco-convert to market on a global scale. He offered not just financial backing, but also resources in manufacturing, marketing, and distribution. It was everything we had ever hoped for. "Why are you so interested in our little project?" Sarah asked, her tone cautious but curious. Ethan smiled. "I've been in this industry long enough to know a game changer when I see one. The world needs this, and I want to be part of making it happen." We spent the next few hours ironing out the details of our partnership. By the end of the meeting, we had a handshake agreement and a newfound sense of hope. Ethan's investment would give us the resources we needed to take eco-convert from a prototype to a product that could genuinely change the world. As we left the meeting room, I turned to Sarah, unable to contain my excitement. "Can you believe this? We did it, Sarah. We're finally going to make a difference," I said, my voice trembling with emotion. Sarah grinned, her eyes shining with pride. "I never doubted it for a second, Jake. This is just the beginning." With Ethan's support, we quickly moved from development to production. Our invention started gaining traction, not just in Detroit, but globally. The media began to take notice, and soon enough, we were caught in a whirlwind of interviews, articles, and public appearances. It was surreal, exhilarating, and at times overwhelming. But through it all, I kept reminding myself of those long nights in the garage, the ridicule we faced, and the unwavering belief Sarah had in our dream. Our first victory was not just a breakthrough in technology. It was a testament to perseverance, partnership, and the relentless pursuit of a better world. With the global adoption of the eco-convert, I found myself thrust into the limelight, a place I had never aspired to be. The once quiet and focused life I led in my garage, working side by side with Sarah, had been replaced by a whirlwind of media appearances, conferences, and interviews. It was overwhelming, to say the least. Sarah, ever the practical one, took charge of overseeing the technical aspects of our production, ensuring that the eco-convert met the highest standards. Meanwhile, I was left to navigate the uncharted waters of public scrutiny and a corporate intrigue. One afternoon, as I was preparing for yet another interview, Sarah burst into my office with a look of concern etched on her face. "Jake, we need to talk," she said, her voice tense. "What's wrong?" I asked, setting aside my notes. "I've been receiving some disturbing emails," she replied, handing me her phone. "Anonymous threats, telling us to stop our work or face the consequences." I scrolled through the messages, a knot forming in my stomach. "This is serious. We need to report this." As we went through the proper channels to alert the authorities, it became clear that these threats were more than just idle warnings. We learned that Energen, a powerful company in the fossil fuel industry, was behind the intimidation. Their CEO, Henry Blackwood, saw our invention as a direct threat to his empire and would stop at nothing to see us fail. One night, after a particularly grueling day, Sarah and I sat in our living room, exhausted but determined. "Jake, we can't let them scare us into submission," she said, her eyes fierce with resolve. "I know," I replied, taking her hand, "but we need to be smart about this. We have to protect our work and ourselves." The next few weeks were a blur of heightened security measures and relentless vigilance. Despite the stress, the eco-convert continued to gain traction worldwide, much to Blackwood's chagrin. His attempts to sabotage us only fueled our determination. During a major tech conference in San Francisco, I found myself on stage addressing a packed auditorium. As I spoke about the eco-convert and its potential to revolutionize energy production, I noticed a familiar face in the crowd. Henry Blackwood. His presence sent a chill down my spine. But I pressed on, refusing to let him intimidate me. After my presentation, I was approached by a journalist named Laura Stevens, known for her investigative prowess. "Mr. Thompson, may I have a moment of your time?" she asked. "Of course," I replied, curious about her interest. "I've been following your story closely," she said, her tone serious. "And I've uncovered some information that might be of interest to you. It seems that Henry Blackwood has been orchestrating a campaign against you from behind the scenes." "Tell me more," I urged, leaning in. Laura revealed that she had evidence linking Blackwood to several attempts to discredit the eco-convert, including bribing officials and manipulating public opinion. This confirmation of our suspicions only strengthened our resolve to fight back. I shared the information with Sarah, who immediately began devising a plan. "Jake, we need to expose him," she said, determination in her eyes. "Let's gather all the evidence we can and bring it to light." With Laura's help, we compiled a dossier of incriminating evidence against Blackwood. The day we presented our findings to the public was one of the most nerve-wracking of my life. I stood at the podium, flanked by Sarah and Laura, as cameras flashed and reporters clamored for a statement. "Ladies and gentlemen," I began, my voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through me. "We have gathered irrefutable evidence that Henry Blackwood and Energen have been engaged in a systematic effort to undermine the eco-convert and protect their own interests at the expense of our planet." The room erupted in questions, but I felt a sense of relief wash over me. We had taken a stand, and the truth was out. In the days that followed, Blackwood's empire began to crumble under the weight of the scandal. He faced legal repercussions, and the public rallied behind us, recognizing the importance of our work. As I looked out over the horizon, the future of the eco-convert secure, I felt a profound sense of accomplishment. Sarah stood beside me, her hand in mine, as we faced the challenges ahead together. "Ready for the next adventure?" she asked, a smile playing on her lips. "Always," I replied, squeezing her hand. "Let's keep changing the world, one innovation at a time." Determined to protect our project, Sarah and I knew we had to dig deeper into the sabotage attempts. We couldn't let Henry Blackwood and his cronies at Energen destroy the eco-convert. The stakes were too high, not just for us, but for the entire planet. We began our investigation by tracing the anonymous threats and unusual incidents back to their sources. "Jake, I've been going through the security footage," Sarah said one evening, her eyes tired but determined. "Look at this." She showed me a video clip from our laboratory's surveillance cameras. There was a man dressed in a janitor's uniform, tampering with the eco-convert prototype. We both knew that man wasn't part of our staff. That's him, I said, recognizing the saboteur from a previous incident. We need to find out who he is and who he's working for. We spent countless nights sifting through data, following leads, and contacting trusted allies in the industry. Eventually, our persistence paid off. We discovered a network of corruption involving Henry Blackwood and several high-ranking government officials. They were conspiring to discredit the eco-convert and maintain their stranglehold on the energy market. We have to go public with this, Sarah insisted. It's the only way to stop them. You're right, I agreed, though the thought of exposing such powerful adversaries was daunting. But we need solid evidence, something undeniable. Our breakthrough came when we managed to intercept a series of emails between Blackwood and his accomplices. They discussed bribing officials, planting sabotages, and launching smear campaigns against us. Armed with this information, we prepared for the most important presentation of our lives. The day of the presentation in Washington arrived. The room was packed with journalists, policymakers, and industry leaders. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. Ladies and gentlemen, I began, my voice steady despite the tension. Today I am not just here to talk about the eco-convert. I am here to expose a grave injustice. I unveiled the emails showing the world the depth of the corruption. The room erupted in gasps and murmurs. I could see the shock and disbelief on their faces. This is just the tip of the iceberg, I continued. Henry Blackwood and his associates have been sabotaging our work to protect their profits at the expense of our planet's future. As I spoke, Sarah displayed the surveillance footage and other incriminating evidence on the screen behind me. The media pounced on the story, and within hours, it was all over the news. That evening, as we watched the headlines roll in, Sarah turned to me with a mixture of relief and concern. We did it, Jake, but what happens next? We keep fighting, I said, feeling a renewed sense of determination. This is just the beginning. The fallout was swift. Henry Blackwood was arrested, along with several of his co-conspirators. An official investigation was launched, and the public's outrage ensured that it would be thorough. Jake Thompson, how do you feel about the recent developments? A reporter asked me during a press conference. Relieved, I replied, but also aware that the fight for a cleaner, more sustainable future is far from over. The eco-convert is just one step in the right direction. As Sarah and I left the press conference, she squeezed my hand. We did it, Jake. We really did it. Yeah, we did, I said, smiling at her. And now, we can finally focus on what really matters, making a difference. Although the battle had been won, we knew there were more challenges ahead. The future of the eco-convert was still uncertain, but we were more determined than ever to ensure its success. With Henry Blackwood out of the picture, we had a real chance to change the world. And so, with the truth on our side and a renewed sense of purpose, Sarah and I prepared for the next chapter of our journey. The road ahead was long, but we were ready to face it together. When everything seemed to be heading towards a happy ending, I stumbled upon a shocking revelation. Ethan Carter, the businessman who had initially supported the eco-convert, was secretly collaborating with Henry Blackwood. The man I'd come to trust and who had provided the necessary resources to bring my invention to life was planning to take control of the eco-convert by destroying my reputation. It was as though the ground beneath me had crumbled, and I was falling into an abyss of betrayal and deceit. One evening, after a particularly grueling day at the lab, Sarah approached me, her face grave. Jake, we need to talk, she said, her voice tinged with urgency. What is it, Sarah? I asked, sensing the gravity of the situation. I've been suspicious of Ethan for a while now. Something about him never sat right with me. She began, her eyes never leaving mine. So I started digging and, well, I recorded a conversation between him and Blackwood. My heart skipped a beat. You did what? I recorded a conversation where Ethan and Blackwood discussed their plan to ruin you. and take over the eco-convert, she revealed, pulling out a small recorder from her pocket. We listened to the recording together, and each word felt like a dagger. It was clear as day. Ethan was just as ruthless and unscrupulous as Blackwood. The realization filled me with a mix of anger and determination. We had to expose them both. "Sarah, this changes everything," I said, my voice trembling with emotion. "We need to make this public." "Absolutely," she agreed. "But we have to be careful. They won't go down without a fight." Armed with the recording, we reached out to various media outlets, ensuring that the evidence would be disseminated widely and quickly. Our story was too significant to be ignored. We scheduled a press conference and prepared ourselves for the storm that was about to hit. The day of the press conference arrived, and the room was packed with reporters and cameras. I stood at the podium, trying to steady my nerves, with Sarah by my side. "Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here today," I began, taking a deep breath. "What I'm about to reveal is both shocking and deeply personal. Ethan Carter, who has been a key investor in the eco-convert, has been working with Henry Blackwood to sabotage me and take control of the invention." The room erupted in murmurs of disbelief. I played the recording, and as the damning conversation filled the air, there was no denying the truth. Ethan's betrayal was laid bare for the world to see. Questions flew at us from all directions, but the most important thing was that Ethan and Blackwood were exposed. The authorities acted swiftly, arresting both men and launching a thorough investigation into their activities. As the dust settled, I felt a sense of relief and vindication wash over me. The threat to the eco-convert had been neutralized, and justice was being served. But more than that, I realized how fortunate I was to have Sarah by my side. She had not only believed in me when no one else did, but had also played a crucial role in uncovering this conspiracy. "Jake, we did it," Sarah said, her eyes shining with triumph as we watched the news coverage of Ethan and Blackwood's arrests. "Yes, we did," I replied, feeling a swell of gratitude and admiration for her. "I couldn't have done this without you, Sarah." "Nor I without you," she smiled. "Now let's focus on what really matters, making the world a better place." With Ethan and Blackwood behind bars, we moved forward with a renewed sense of purpose. The eco-convert continued to gain traction globally, and the positive impact on the environment was undeniable. We received accolades and recognition, but more importantly, we saw the tangible difference our work was making. In the wake of the scandal, Sarah and I founded a new company dedicated to ecological innovation. We vowed to continue pushing the boundaries of what was possible, driven by the belief that technology could indeed save the world. As we stood on the rooftop of our new office, looking out over the city, I felt a profound sense of hope and determination. "Ready for the next challenge?" I asked, turning to Sarah. "Always," she replied, her eyes reflecting the same unyielding passion that had brought us this far. Together, we were ready to face whatever came next, knowing that as long as we had each other, there was nothing we couldn't overcome.